Hey, Room 15. So it's been a while since we've been able to add to our calendar grid. And our calendar is getting much fuller as the days pass. So the last day that we added to our grid was the 17th. So we're going to be adding the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. Okay? So let's take a look at our observations. So the last day was the 17th. And I'm just going to pull these cards because it's kind of a lot to show the whole thing. Okay, so the first card is April 18th. Okay, so I'm going to add it to our grid. For 18. So the 4 markers are garden beds again. And they are rectangular. Last time we saw the garden beds, they were circles. So these are rectangles. But this time we have some crops. So these are lettuce heads. Each plant is called a lettuce head. Okay, so this garden bed, it is a hole. So we'll put hole. And then let me just make a line right here. I accidentally wrote on the wrong lines. Okay. And then I see that we have 4 parts. So we have 4 parts to our garden bed. And then we can write how many we have in each part. So we have 3 heads of lettuce. But then also, we could say that 1/4 of our garden bed, because remember there's 4 total parts, but only 1 has crops in them. So we could say like 1/4 has crops. Okay? Okay, so let's look at the 19th. So for 19, let me just draw a line across real quick. Okay, so it's for 19. Let me just pull this closer so we can look at it. So this garden bed it is a hole again. And then it has 3 parts. So this garden bed is broken up into thirds. So it's 3 parts. And then only 1 of the 3 parts has crops. But this time there are 4 total lettuce heads. So 4 heads of lettuce. And then not 1/4 this time, but it'll be 1/3 because it's 1 part out of 3 total parts. So 1/3 has crops. Okay? And then we have April 20th, which was on Monday. So I'll write the date, 4/20. It is a hole. And this time, this is broken into halves. So we'll record this, but I want to compare this to the other garden bed that we saw when we were done. So it is 2 parts. Okay. And remember, if it's 2 parts and 1 of the parts has crops, we can call that a half. So actually, let's write that down here. 1/2 has crops. And then this actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 heads of lettuce. Okay. Now, I said we're going to compare this garden bed to the other garden bed that didn't have crops. Okay, so this garden bed is different from this garden bed. And the only thing that's different is they're both holes. They both have 2 parts. But the difference is this garden bed for April 20th is divided into like triangles. So each part is a triangle. But when you compose the 2 triangles and put them together, it creates a rectangle. This garden bed has 2 squares. So if you put 2 squares and you compose the 2 squares, it composes a rectangle. Remember that word compose means you put together to create something, okay? So these are 2 different ways that you can compose shapes to create a rectangle. You could put 2 triangles together and it makes a rectangle. Remember, we're learning that right now in geometry. And then this shape, you could put 2 squares together to create a rectangle. I don't know if you knew that. Okay, and then this last calendar grid is the 21st, which was yesterday. So let's take a look. It is 1 hole. It has 1 part because the whole thing has crops, okay? But this time it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the whole, oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm writing. The whole bed has crops. Now, my friends, we actually are going to work backwards, okay? So we're going to look at these 4 calendar grid markers because remember, we're studying fractions right now, right? So take a look at the 21st. This is how many heads of lettuce this garden bed would have if we use the whole thing. But let's say that we are gardeners and we want to plant 2 different crops. And we want to just divide it or create 2 parts. When you divide things, it just means you're breaking things into parts. So if we wanted to break the garden bed into 2 parts, this is what it would look like. And since it's halves, they took half of 12, which would be 6. And then if you look in this garden bed, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice that? So half of 12 is 6, okay? But then let's say we decided, so then you could plant something else there. Like you can plant cucumbers there, or you can plant strawberries, whatever you wanted, okay? Let's say we decided, we want 3 crops. So we're gonna take the lettuce and divide it into thirds, which it would look like this. So if you look at the rows, there are 3 rows. So if we took away 2 and left only 1, it matches the picture. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. And look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that? So we divided 12 heads of lettuce into 3 parts. It would be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See that? If we took 12 and divided it into 2 groups, it would be 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 6. Notice that? Now, the last garden bed. They took this last garden bed, and instead of having 2 groups or 3 groups, we want 4 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you look at the columns here in the full garden bed, there are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it matches the fourths. So if we took away 3 groups and we only had 1 group left, it should match 1, 2, 3. So 12 divided into 4 groups is 3. Notice that? Okay, my friends? So not only are we learning fractions, you're also learning third grade math. You are learning division, my friends. Okay? So next time we will also be taking a look at those fractions and seeing how we can divide them into equal groups. All right, my friends. See you later.